Apple just released their new macOS Sequoia version 15.4 yesterday. And with it, there was a new version of the OpenCore Legacy Patcher 2.3.0 that enables unsupported Macs for that latest macOS version. And just a few hours ago, there was already a new update 2.3.1. And that raises the question, are now all problems fixed? Welcome to JC's Flying. Yesterday, Apple released a bunch of new macOS versions: macOS Sequoia 15.4, macOS Sonoma 14.7.5, and macOS Ventura 13.7.5. And with that releases the developers of the OpenCore Legacy Patcher that enables unsupported Macs for all these officially unsupported macOSs. They released their latest version of the OpenCore Legacy Patcher 2.3.0. And while I was in full testing here on all my Macs, there was another release, a bug fix release, that was 2.3.1. So I halted everything, installed the update, and went through all the testing again. Obviously, to give you a broad overview of all kinds of unsupported Macs, and that ranges from 2017, which is the youngest officially unsupported Mac, way back to 2011. What I can tell up front, all Macs installed the latest macOS Sequoia 15.4 without any problems. And here is my tutorial that is for macOS Sonoma, and obviously the same procedure applies for macOS Sequoia or Ventura or Big Sur, Monterey, whatever you use, where you can have a step-by-step detailed instruction how to install an unsupported macOS on your old Mac. In my case here, all Macs had no problems either updating from macOS Sequoia 15.3.1, that was the latest before. I used my iMac 2011 and made a fresh install from scratch with a USB drive where I had the installer on, so the USB method works also like a charm. And I did some regular updates where you just go into the system settings, click update as with any supported Mac. That, for instance, was my Mac Pro 2012, no problems at all. By the way, for all of you with a Mac Pro cheese grater and who know my previous video where I talk about the problem that USB cameras don't work, I got a solution for you later in the video when we reach 2012. So let's talk about the youngest generation of unsupported Macs, the iMac 2017 or any Mac 2017. And there's no problem at all running the latest macOS Sequoia 15.4 on that Mac generation. But careful, make sure you switch off the automatic update of macOS, because Apple might release an update that breaks anything with OpenCore, the bootloader, or the OpenCore Legacy Patcher, the root patches, whatever. And if you update as soon as the update is released, you might end up in a boot loop, black screen, your macOS is not working anymore. So switch off the updates and wait maybe for me to have all the different Macs checked and give you a thumbs up that it's safe to update. But unfortunately, the latest macOS Sequoia 15.4, even if you have switched off the automatic updates before, switches the automatic updates on again. So make sure that you go into the system settings and you go to General Software Update, and here you can see macOS Sequoia 15.4, and it has automatically switched on macOS updates and security responses. That was all switched off before the update, because I switch it off on all my unsupported Macs. And so make sure you can download the updates if you want to when they are available, but you have to switch off macOS updates. You need your password here, and make sure as you can see here, there's still security responses on. Switch that off as well. I switch off just everything, so I can see here automatic updates are off, but macOS Sequoia is 15.4. And as I said, on this iMac, for instance, there's full video acceleration for H264 HEVC. You can watch DRM content, you can watch 4K videos on YouTube, whatever you want, to have a gorgeous screen, still 27 inches, and all features work. Make sure with your unsupported Mac to check if you have a T2 security chip. If not, that is not a problem, but for instance, iPhone mirroring won't work without the T2 security chip. That's all about the generation 2017. And then let's talk about the generation from 2016, like this MacBook Pro here. Why do I have a MacBook Pro 2016? There's a difference because it has a touch bar. And for that touch bar, it has a T1 security chip. So obviously, iPhone mirroring won't work. And there's one specialty. Don't erase the 2016 MacBook Pro with a T1 chip completely and then install either Sonoma or Sequoia directly. Why? Because there's a little operating system on a security chip that is for the touch bar. And if you erase everything here and install Sonoma or Sequoia, these are not supported macOSs anymore on that hardware, they won't install that security OS for the touch bar, so you lose your touch bar. Not a problem, just install macOS Ventura, the latest official macOS here, and then install OpenCore Legacy Patcher and install macOS Sequoia on top of that as an update. And then it will keep it, your touch bar fully functional, and also there's full graphic acceleration. You can watch DRM content, 4K content, whatever, everything works. So one of the fixes of OpenCore Legacy Patcher 2.3.0 was a fix for Intel Broadwell chip generations. For instance, that MacBook Pro 2015 here. Because there was a graphical glitch with widgets, for instance, on your desktop. Because if you just opened up any window and the widgets went into the background, the shading didn't work correctly. So there was some infos missing, and when you just move the window back again and they come up to the front again and get colored, then there were other informations missing. So that was a graphical glitch back and forth when they went into the background or into the foreground. That, as you can see, is all fixed. The only graphic glitch that I found was here with the Wi-Fi symbol at the menu bar. If you boot your MacBook Pro and look into the menu bar for the Wi-Fi symbol, it looks grayed out, as if you have switched off Wi-Fi or if it's not connected. But it is connected. If you just click on it, you can see it is connected, and if you now click anywhere else and that window disappears, you can see the Wi-Fi symbol gets white, gets bright, and shows that it is connected. That is just a very minor graphical glitch, and the same glitch happens to the MacBook Air 2013. So the MacBook Air 2013 is one of the first Macs that, although everything is working, despite the Wi-Fi symbol graphic glitch, that I not really can recommend installing Sequoia to, because it's an 2013 i5 chip with only 4 GB of memory, and it's really having a hard time running that 12-year younger macOS. It's really slow. With every click you have to wait. All the regular Finder windows need a lot of time to come up, and so it's really, you need a lot of time and you need a lot of patience if you're using the latest macOS on that MacBook Air 2013. And for instance, you can stream full HD, but as soon as you switch to 2K resolution or even 4K resolution, there's no way that you can stream that smoothly from YouTube or whatever, because the MacBook Air cannot handle that high resolution. Very different story though with the MacBook Pro 2012. 1 year older, but it has an Intel i7 chip and it had upgradable memory, so I upgraded it to 8 GB of memory. It just got rid of the spinning hard disk and I installed an SSD, and it has a dedicated GeForce graphics card. And so this MacBook Pro 2012, that is really one of the longest and most valuable MacBooks that you can get, because this one here handles Sequoia in the latest version without any problems. Everything works, everything is smooth, and it's way faster than the MacBook Air 2013, and it just feels at least as fast as the MacBook Pro 2015. And you can stream 4K videos from YouTube without any problems with that MacBook Pro. And as we've reached 2012 right now, and that is all of my MacBooks, let's switch to the Mac Pros. And I know that a lot of you guys really love either the cheese grater or the trash can, the Mac Pro 2013. So let's see how the Mac Pros handle the latest macOS Sequoia. The Mac Pro 2013, the trash can. I love the design, many of you do, but unfortunately you cannot really upgrade or expand it at all. Especially the graphic cards. There are 2 graphic cards in it. These are the D300s. You get D500s or D700s, but nevertheless it's all graphic hardware that is 12 years old, from 2013. And so you don't have any graphic acceleration, HEVC or H264 with that Mac Pro trash can. But the developers of OpenCore and OpenCore Legacy Patcher did a great job, so you can do nearly everything with macOS Sequoia with that trash can. You can stream 4K videos, but not with Safari. Because if you go to YouTube with Safari and you try to select 2K or 4K on a 4K video, there's no option for that. It's just full HD. So use another browser. Use Google Chrome, Firefox or whatever, and then you are able to stream 4K videos on the trash can. Safari and Chrome works well. If you have any website, all that works fine. There's only one glitch, and that is quite since macOS Sonoma, or I think maybe already since Ventura, is that with maps, either Maps app, the weather app, the precipitation map, or the map in Photos and so on, they all have a transparency issue with the text, with the description, with the city names or country names and so on. So if you open up Maps, you can see that the name Cupertino, for instance, here on the map has a black box around it, and if you scroll a little bit further out, you can see all the text has this black boxes. So if you switch to satellite, you can see it even better. But that is the only downside for that Mac Pro trash can. Everything else works And if you stay with Monterey, for instance, you can connect an eGPU, an external GPU. That's a case with a power supply where you can put a regular graphics card in it, that you can connect via Thunderbolt 2, and then you can use an external graphics card with a trash can. So stay tuned, subscribe my channel. There soon will be a video dedicated to the trash can, explaining step by step how to connect an external GPU and what are the advantages and disadvantages of that trash can. One more thing, talking about Google Chrome, for instance, to watch 4K YouTube videos, the old graphic cards have a problem with the Chromium renderer. And that is, for instance, in Google Chrome. So if you open up Google Chrome on that trash can, you will see there's just a red window popping up and it's totally unusable. I give you a link down in the video description, and you can see there's just there you can see all the graphic errors. It's not usable. I give you a link down in the video description where it is explained how to set Google Chrome that it always uses the OpenGL renderer, and that works with that graphic cards. So you can use Google Chrome, and that you have to do for every app that's using Chromium, but more details down in the video description. Now, talking about Mac Pros, let's talk about the cheese grater. Here it is, the 2012 Mac Pro 5.1 cheese grater, one of the most flexible and upgradable Macs Apple ever created, and therefore, as there is a new graphics card in it, it has no problems at all, no flaws, nothing with the latest macOS Sequoia 15.4, except USB webcams. I don't know exactly when it started that they don't work, but for instance, there is a Logitech USB webcam, and you can plug it into the cheese grater, and for instance, in photo booth, the camera is shown, but if you select it, the light here just comes on, switches off, but you never get a picture. And I asked my community, and that is something I'd like to invite you. I have a Discord server, link is also down in the video description. Come and join our Discord community. There is nearly 3,500 members discussing every kind of problem, of glitch, of help needed for whatever kind of unsupported Macs. We talk about gaming on Macs with my MacBook Pro with an M4 Pro chip. That's another series here on my channel. Gaming on Apple Silicon. There is a discussion going on about Chrome OS on old MacBooks, for instance, the old MacBook Air that is quite slow with macOS, and so on. So come and join our Discord community. And one question I asked, are there any webcams, USB webcams, that work with that cheese grater? Not really. But I promised there's a solution for that. There are actually two solutions. One solution is if you have the Apple Cinema display like I have here, and you connect the USB cable that comes from the Cinema display for the USB hub with your Mac Pro, you also get the iSight camera connected, and if you start photo booth, you can see there's a green light coming up, and there it is. So the iSight camera of the Cinema display works. Okay, now you say not everyone has a Cinema display. Okay, got it. So the other thing that works, just take your iPhone. If you have an iPhone, connect it via cable, via USB cable to the Mac Pro. You have to be on the same Apple iCloud account though. So the iPhone and the Mac Pro both have to be with the same iCloud account in the same Wi-Fi both have Bluetooth switched on. And then you can use your iPhone as a webcam with a Mac Pro. I just tested that half an hour ago with my iPhone. Actually, I cannot show it because that iPhone is just recording the video, but it works. So either the iSight camera or your phone, your iPhone, works as a webcam for the Mac Pro. The developers of the OpenCore Legacy Patcher promised that they will fix some stuff for non-metal Macs. One non-metal Mac would be my iMac 2011 just behind me. And let me show you what has maybe changed, what are still some caveats, and can you use a 2011 stock iMac with macOS Acquire. So this Mac generation from 2011 or even older are definitely non-metal Macs. So what is metal? Metal is a graphic subsystem of Apple that is used for graphic acceleration. And more apps in macOS already need metal. For instance, the weather app, the map kit, so all maps work with metal. And so with that iMac, there are no map features. And I can show you that. If you just start maps, there's only a black screen. Same is with the weather app. There's the precipitation map in the top right corner where you can see precipitation, you can switch to wind, you can switch to air quality, whatever. And you can see here the wind map is just blank. If I click on it, black map, same as with maps. So that is one downside. And you can say, okay, that's only maps, fine. Next thing is here the background animation of the weather app. You could see some clouds going by, or thunderstorms or rain or whatever. They just removed that because that was also metal dependent. Okay, so the weather app is just not as nice as with other Macs. Fine. Only cosmetic things. The next thing they removed because it didn't work and it needed metal are dynamic wallpapers. So when you go here to wallpaper, you have the dynamic wallpapers, and if you switch to the Sonoma wallpaper, there it is, no problem. But if I now switch to the Macintosh wallpaper, you're back with the sequoia trees. They just removed that wallpaper, and the same if I go back to Sonoma and I now go to Sequoia, just the trees. The next feature that doesn't work is DRM content. So streaming content that is copyrighted, that is like Apple TV Plus. But if you go maybe to Ted Lasso here, you can see there is the trailer starting. But it's only black. But good news, if you're using Google Chrome, Safari, or maybe Firefox, you can log into Netflix or Amazon, and you can watch DRM content even in 4K quality in the browser. That works. The native apps like the Amazon Prime app or Amazon Video app and Apple TV app, they don't stream DRM content. But now let's go to YouTube and let's check out the 4K YouTube video stream. And we go to settings and we go here to settings 4K. And right now I'm screen recording, so let me just stop the screen recording. The iMac just cannot stream 4K and record it. And you can see the 4K stream completely smooth and fine on that 14-year-old hardware. So basically, Whoa, big announcement. I have to change my mind a little bit, that you can use a 2011 Mac quite okay with the latest macOS Sequoia 15.4. And if I would have to decide between the MacBook Air 2013 and that iMac, I definitely take the iMac because it's streaming 4K. The MacBook Air is just streaming full HD, nothing more. And this one feels way more snappy than the MacBook Air. Stay tuned here on my channel for the next videos. Some are about gaming on Apple Silicon. One of the next will be the Mac Pro 2013 trash can. And definitely in June, when the WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference from Apple, will reveal the latest and next macOS 16, and then we'll know, is there still a macOS 16 version for Intel Macs, or is Sequoia the last one and the next will only be Apple Silicon? I hope I'll see you all there. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.